Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Food School Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast. Adventures of one obsessed nutrition coach on a mission to create a world where food makes us better. Today's episode, I want to start with a funny story, with a funny anecdote that comes up over and over and over again in my daily life as a virtual health, nutrition, wellness coach. So very often when we start working on my clients' nutrition, and working specifically on introducing more essential for life, essential for health nutrients, and I advise my clients to eat certain foods on a daily basis, like fatty fish or eggs or certain nuts and seeds, or a pound of vegetables a day, organ meats. So some things, some foods are on a daily basis, some foods are on a weekly basis, and then a lot of my clients would come back to me with saying something like this. Okay, if I'm gonna eat all these foods every day, I have no space for anything else. And I usually want to answer, what do you need space for? Like, do you want to eat more junk that we are trying to not eat? Like, what are you worried not to have stomach space for? Because a lot of my clients, after they start introducing all these foods, they soon realize that they have no hunger, no desire, no space, no stomach space for those foods that they thought they had difficulties to quit, like different stuff with sugars or processed flours, different processed like food snacks, all these foods that we think we want to stop eating more of. And so when I tell my clients that, okay, so these are healthy foods that you need to include in your daily menu, and to introduce all these essential vitamins and minerals into your nutrition, again, my client just starts saying, now I don't have space or hunger for other foods. Like, and is it a bad thing that you don't want to eat all these other foods? And that goes right into another issue, that a lot of our cravings for foods are not actually, especially when you start eating foods naturally full in minerals and vitamins and healthy proteins, fats and carbs and fiber. So we realize that we actually stop having physical hunger for foods that we thought we liked, like maybe some cookies or baked stuff, or maybe pasta or pizzas, whatever that can be for you personally, maybe ice cream. And you realize that you don't need anything on a physical level. You just don't have that physical hunger for anything else because you eat enough of nutritious foods. But then you miss something mentally. You miss that dopamine hit that happens usually when we eat highly processed foods, highly rewarding foods that were actually manufactured to create that instant fast hit of dopamine. And that's what a lot of my clients find they still crave. And they a lot of times would say, I can even go on a low carb diet or keto diet, and I don't really miss all these carbohydrates from whole foods, but I do miss those snacks or cookies or candies, or those protein bars with a lot of sugar in them, or all this, ice cream or something like that. They say, but I do miss that. And why is that? And the reason, guys, why you might be missing those snacks, those processed foods, is because they were manufactured, again, to give you that instant, that fast hit of dopamine, and your brain loves dopamine. That's why we do all we do, to get the dopamine, to get this rush, to get this instant hit of your emotions elevated at a really high speed. That's what we miss, and that's what a lot of those foods give us. And so once you stop having that quick release of dopamine, your brain for a while will be missing it, just like a drug addict would be missing that dopamine hit and rush. The same will happen when you stop eating processed foods. And so again, on a physical level, you might feel that you're just not hungry, you don't crave anything anymore. But mentally, your brain actually does crave those things, and not because there are any nutrients that you miss in them, but because your brain misses that dopamine release, that fast dopamine release. The speed is actually the essential property of those foods being so addictive. And what you want to understand is the more processed food is, especially added sugars, highly processed carbohydrates, so the more those substances are processed, the faster dopamine release happens, and the more addictive those foods are. So for example, that's why a lot of foods that melt in your mouth, like some sorts of puffs or made of, I don't know, corn and starch and sugar and all sorts of flavorings, sometimes savory, sometimes sweets, when they melt in your mouth, that creates the really fast dopamine release, and that your brain really loves. And actually, in food companies, when they manufacture those foods, they know about that, and that's why when they want to create a highly addictive snack, the faster it melts in your mouth, they know that that's going to produce the more addictiveness, that addictive quality of the snack, of the food that you eat. And that's why also whole foods will never do that, because whole foods contain fiber and water, and you have to chew them, and all that makes it almost impossible. Like, I don't really know of any whole foods that will release the same amount of dopamine that fast as those snacks can, just because you have to chew them. Your body have to break down all the fibers and process all of that, and that takes time, and that causes gradual release of dopamine in in different other neurotransmitters that make eating so pleasurable. And gradual nature of that means that you never get that fast and high heat of dopamine, and eating whole foods just never gonna happen. And that's what you might be missing, not not the actual, I don't know, it doesn't satisfy any of your physical hunger anymore. And the more you eat whole foods, unprocessed foods, the more you understand that. And what will happen, you will have to deal with that absence of that high and fast dopamine heat. And you will have to manage your emotions and change your biochemistry somehow else, maybe doing super intense workout, maybe doing something else. But it also might happen that you will never experience that high heat of dopamine that some drug-like substances or highly processed food may produce. So that just, guys, a little in-depth explanation why you might be craving certain foods, and why whole foods diets for somebody who is addicted to the dopamine rush. I was one of those people at some point, until I could successfully manage my own emotions and my mental state. And when I didn't need any substances, when I realized I didn't need any substances anymore to change my emotions. So again, that's what you'll be missing. And a lot of my clients do complain about that. Like, I'm eating all this food, I lost all my hunger, so now where I'm gonna fit in all this, crap. And the thing is, you shouldn't be thinking about fitting it in. You should be thinking about how to now work around that and manage your emotions without needing that dopamine heat and that substance to change your neurochemistry and your mood. From this story to another story or another question. Like, I'm getting questions from all over social media all the time. This one came from an acquaintance of mine on LinkedIn, and he was asking about my take on macronutrients of fats, carbohydrates, and proteins, how much of those we need, what's my take on that, and what's my take on calorie sweetener. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit more about macronutrients, carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. So guys, you want to understand that people can thrive on a variety of different macronutrients, meaning the amount of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. And the problems do not usually come from the amount of certain macronutrients, as long as they come from whole foods, not some food-like substances or snacks or meal replacement or other powders, whatever that might be. So the problem do not come from different macronutrients from whole foods. And also, as long as you are supplying through food all of the essential vitamins and minerals, it's very hard to create an unbalanced diet. But for example, if you decide to start eating mostly, I don't know, rice, right? Let's say rice, and then very few of other foods. Yeah, of course you're gonna have a lot of carbohydrates, but that's not even the issue really. What's the issue is that's gonna cause a lot of health problems is the lack of essential vitamins and minerals, and that diet that is, yes, super high in carbohydrates, starchy carbohydrates. But again, that's not going to be the issue. The main issue is going to be the lack of nutrients. Plus, a lot of grains create, they cause the how do you say, they cause the negative effect when it comes to nutrient absorption. So for example, rice might cause zinc deficiency. So what you want to understand when it comes to macronutrients, fats, carbohydrates, and proteins, that it's very hard to create deficiency, to create imbalance if you're eating whole foods only that supply all the nutrients. And here is another aspect. Fats and carbohydrates, they usually balance themselves out based on the energy requirements of the individual. Like your body can be fueled through carbohydrates and through fats. What you want to have more or less constant is protein. So I recommend for a majority of people, middle age, I'm not talking about teenagers, I'm not talking about people older, I'm not talking about also professional athletes, but for an average human being, somewhere around 0.7 grams of protein per pound of body weight, or about what is it? I think it's about 1.4 grams of protein per 1 kilogram of body weight will give you the protein that you need. And then the rest, fats or carbohydrates, you need to balance out depending on your energy requirements. So obviously, if you're super active, you will need to eat more of those fuels. If you are not that active, you'll need more energy. That should be actually balanced naturally by your body, and you'll be hungrier if you're more active, and you'll be less hungry if you are not that active. And as long as you eat whole foods that supply the amount of protein you need, that supply all the essential vitamins and minerals, I don't see problems in anyone long term. Like, I just don't see any problems. Again, people can thrive on variety of different macronutrients. So the two things that I suggest you, actually maybe not two, maybe three things that I suggest you to focus on, is make sure that you're eating enough protein, because protein requirements, they are kind of universal for a certain body type, body size, and age group. And for, again, middle-aged adults, not teenagers, not kids, not people after 65. So that group, males and females, males will need a little bit more, females usually need a little bit less, just because we have differences in our muscle mass and also bone structure. So 0.7 grams of protein per pound of body weight, or 1.4 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, depending what measuring system you are using. And then fats and carbohydrates, as long as they keep coming from whole foods, you kind of allow your body to naturally balance them out, and see what you thrive on more, what you feel best on. And just make sure that you consume enough vitamins and minerals. And for that purpose, I either recommend to get in touch with a coach, maybe for one consultation, maybe to go through your daily menu and figure out whether you are deficient in certain nutrients or not, and help you to build a better menu that supplies vitamins and minerals. So either go and consult a coach. You can ask me, we can do a consultation and we can analyze your meal plan and I can help you to create a better one. Or you can use one of the apps. There is a website I really love, checkyourfood.com, that provides you really amazing breakdown of your meals. So you can put all the foods and the amounts and how you cook them, and the website, they don't have an app yet, will tell you exactly like what nutrients you're getting most probably and what you might be deficient in on a regular basis. So use one of those options and check if you are getting vitamins and minerals that you need. And then just make sure that you're eating a variety of whole foods, and that's it. So healthy eating, guys, is not that complicated, and macronutrients, they don't have to be that precise if you are eating whole food diet. Just make sure again that you're getting all the vitamins and minerals and you are getting sufficient amount of protein. And I wanted to stress one more, guys. Then our food world is so confusing. There are so many food products, snacks, and all sorts of superfoods and meal replacements and snack for this and that and functional foods. But just because there is all this variety, it doesn't mean we need all of this variety or that it's in our best interest to eat all this variety of products versus variety of different foods. So just like with Netflix, guys, just because it's all available, it doesn't mean that you should consume all of it right away in the amounts, binge consuming Netflix and TV shows and movies. Just because it's out there, it doesn't mean it's good. It's a great idea to consume all of that all the time. You need to be selective somehow, right? If you want to be a well-functioning human being in our society. Just the same as food. Just because it's all out there doesn't mean it's a great idea to consume all of it or build our daily menu out of all of this. Most of this is entertainment. It should be treated like a movie night. Once in a while, you try this snack or that snack, but your daily menu shouldn't be built around those foods. You shouldn't feel like, oh, you want to eat all of these foods and vegetables and different sorts of protein-rich foods and all this variety of whole foods should be a have-to-do thing. No, treat your normal whole foods as the foundation of your health, and the rest treat like once in a while entertainment. If it's a dessert, have it once a week. Don't look forward for it every single day in every single meal. Sugar was not meant to be consumed that way. I'm not against sugar as a substance existing, but what I'm against of is having it at every single meal every single day. We shouldn't be eating like kids left without any supervision in front of a lot of candy, right? We should eat like adults, support our health first, our well-being, our longevity, and then once in a while we can entertain ourselves with some treats or desserts or whatever. So that's my point of view. And when it comes to artificial sweeteners, guys, sweet taste should come from whole foods just like anything else. Long-term studies, all that were done, they're probably not that precise, not that perfect, but they all show that you are better off not consuming sweeteners. That if you want sweet taste, eat a piece of fruit. That's my best recommendation for weight loss and metabolism and blood sugar metabolism and insulin levels and just satiety levels and hunger management. And to finish this episode, guys, I wanted to talk about one food that I forgot to mention yesterday in our episode about the most nutritious foods. And this food I actually consume almost every single day, and I've been doing it for years. So eggs. Eggs had their good moments and bad moments, egg yolks and whites. What should we eat, right? Some people say, skip the whites. Some people say skip the yolk. Depends on where you are in fat camp, fat rich or fat poor. But eggs, guys, especially egg yolk, like I always recommend to eat the whole food, but I just want to stress out that, for example, just one egg will give you 38% of vitamin B12, choline 37%. And why choline is important? Well, first of all, it's very hard to get from any other foods, plant or animal. And choline is essential nutrient that is naturally present in some foods, especially liver, meat, and eggs. So why it's important? Contributes to normal function of our liver. Liver is one of the most important organs in our body. That's why it's probably the biggest. I think it is the biggest. It enables our body to process fats effectively and contributes to cardiovascular health. Numerous animal and human studies have shown that choline is involved in making sure that you have only small amount of lipid fat in your liver. Having high levels of fat in our liver is associated with an increased serious health problems such as diabetes, high blood pressure, and kidney disease. So we want to have choline. And choline is present in eggs specifically. So one egg, 37% of that choline. So I eat usually 3 eggs a day. Whole eggs, I choose always big eggs. And with that, again, you're gonna get plenty of vitamin B12, all you need. You're gonna get all the biotin. You're gonna get riboflavin, so basically B7, B2, B5. You're gonna get with one egg 12% of your vitamin D, 10% of your vitamin A, 7% of your folate. There is even 5% of vitamin E. There is 19% of iodine, 19% of selenium, and I'm talking about only one egg here, so I'm eating 3 times the amounts. 15% of phosphorus. There is some iron, some zinc, and of course it's an amazing source of protein and fat. So eggs are amazing, guys. Eat them every day. They are especially proven to be important for pregnant women. Choline might be essential for development of healthy fetus. So eggs, guys, include them in all forms in your daily menu. Do not eat raw eggs because actually that makes a lot of nutrients in egg less available. So either boil them or fry them. So that's the best way to enjoy your eggs and enjoy them daily, guys. So today we talked about why certain foods, why highly processed foods are so addictive. Today we talked about macronutrients and how not to be so worried about macronutrients, fats, proteins, and carbs, as long as you are getting all the vitamins and minerals, as long as you're getting all the protein you need, as long as you're eating only whole foods, a variety of whole foods. We talked briefly about sweeteners, that sweet taste should come from sweet foods like fruit, for example. We also talked about the variety in our food system, and that just because it's out there, just because there is Netflix and all you can watch buffet, it doesn't mean it's a great idea to consume all of it in huge amounts, so without any selectiveness whatsoever. And eggs, eat your eggs, guys. They are foods like nature's superfood, full of nutrients that are hard to get in other foods, especially choline, guys. Choline, an important nutrient that's hard to get in a lot of other foods, almost nowhere except for liver, and most of you are not eating liver despite all of my advice. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Keep those questions coming on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, wherever you find me, on Quora. I need to be answering actually more questions on Quora. So keep those questions coming. I will do my best to provide you the best available information with my analysis. I've been studying it for more than a decade now. I've been obsessed with it. I study, I learn something every day. So let me be your Google. I'm better than Google. And without any more words, as usual, guys, share this episode and enjoy more healthy food today and daily.